The time of the prophecies, we're marching into disturbing events. In no case do we want to exhaust the prophecies by writing on a daily or weekly basis scenarios what will happen. We had warned on May 9 with an article about what was to come. The time of the prophecies, first the double elections and then the events, the elections in Greece and Turkey. The hour of truth has arrived, the article dedicated to the elders who notified me at an unsuspected time, the writer says, about what we are living and will live. The truth is that throughout time and in different regions, I have discussed with elders about what will happen until we reach the ruins of Constantinople, which is today Istanbul. And these testimonies start from July 1974 with the first Turkish invasion of Cyprus. My first spiritual father, Spiros Skordilis, told me that the beginning of 1990, when asked when we will take the city, that I will first experience the globalization, which will be an antichrist system, and it will not be a person. Another priest in 2010 told me in a question, when will we get the city, first the double elections and then the grandchildren? And indeed, there were double elections in Greece and Turkey, with Mitsotakis, the Prime Minister of Greece, renewing his term, just like Erdogan did in Turkey. This was followed on September 25th, 2023, by the issuance of the new identity cards, the digital ID cards, with absolute silence from the hierarchy of the church, and followed by the Al-Aqsa flood operation October 7 by Hamas in Israel. And this was followed by the land invasion IDF in the Gaza Strip. And here we have the first verification of the prophecy of the prophet Jeremiah. Prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, prophecies against the Philistines in Idumea, against the Philistine. Jeremiah 29:1, thus says the Lord, these are the words of the Lord. Behold, waters arise up from the sea, and be in the winter overflowing and overwhelm the earth and its inhabitants, the city and those who dwell in it, and the people will cry out, and all the inhabitants of the earth will be astonished. Behold, waters rise from the north like torrents, overwhelming everything. They will flood the earth and everything on it, the cities and their inhabitants. The people will utter a cry, all who dwell on the earth will wail and wail. Because of the sound of his rushing, because of the weapons of his feet, and because of the earthquake of his chariots, because of the sound of his wheels. Fathers did not turn back after their sons because of the breaking of their hands. For the shouts of the unrushing enemies, from the shouts of the unrushing enemies, from the hoofs of his cavalry, and from the great battle of his war chariots, from the noise of the wheeled vehicles, the parents were so terrified that they did not turn back to search for their children because their hands became paralyzed. In the coming day, you will all perish, the opposite sex, and I will destroy Tyre and Sidon and all the remnants of their help, because the Lord will destroy the remnants of the islands. These will be done in the day that is coming, so that the Lord will destroy all the Philistines. Then I will destroy, says the Lord, Tyre and Sidon and all their helpers who are left. The Lord will also destroy those remaining on the islands. There is a bald head on Gazon, the governor of Ashkelon, and the remnants of Anakim. Gaza will be deforested. It will resemble a bald head. Ashkelon will be rejected, as well as the remaining Anakim giants. Israel repeatedly ordered the evacuation of civilians in northern Gaza, and a few days later, the ground operation began. Next comes South Lebanon, the cities of Tyre and Sidon, where Hezbollah is based, and while we await the second speech of its leader, Nasrallah, on November 11, that's today, 2023. The St. Paisius of the Christian Orthodox Church says in the books, Elder Paisius says, in this war everyone will return defeated. The Greek army will be a spectator, the field will be Palestine, their grave the Dead Sea. This will be the first half, he said. And we also write about the war in Ukraine, the time of prophecies, prophecies for Russia. On the peninsula, you gain victory and cross the Elo, the Motian Lake or Sea of Azov. You destroy the Taurikin and the surrounding and the Maiotic parts of the Scythians. In fact, the Russian troops passed from the Donbass region to the rest of the parts of Ukraine where battles are still taking place, namely from the Sea of Azov. Agathangelos in chapter 7 states, I heard a voice coming from Arctos saying this, Russia awoke from sleep, for you is the word of the angel of the Lord, and continues below before the sun in the eastern sign is visible. O friend, here are your noble martial instruments. Filling the ether of melody, the warriors and heroes sigh almost victoriously, inviting reformation of the placenta. The sun in the eastern sign rises on March 22nd. The war began earlier on February 23rd, 2022, continues to this day. So we have two ongoing wars against that St. Cosmas of Anatolia mentioned. When you hear that the war has been caught from below, then it will be near. And if the war is caught from below, you will suffer little. If it is caught from above, you will be destroyed. The question now is where and when will the outbreak of general war take place? There's also the reference of St. Cosmas of Anatolia about the ships in the Mediterranean, and later also in the Aegean Sea. When you will see the 1,000th in the White Sea, then be brave. When you will see the 1,000-year-old in the Greek waters, then take courage. When you will see the 1,000th in Greek waters, then the issue of the city will be resolved. We already have 5 aircraft carriers in the North Mediterranean, 2 from the United States, 1 Spanish and 1 British and 1 Italian. And here comes the brief thoughts of the preacher Panagopoulos from the book Saint and Sages about the future to what's the word for it? Living together in peace, which state, the ships of the Mediterranean will be thrown into the air like firecrackers. However, beyond the development in Ukraine and the Middle East, we must wait for the fullness of time in the Balkans as well. And the Orthodox will clash. With NATO, the fire that started in the Balkans will spread, the current Russian leadership will be overthrown, and the Orthodox people of the Balkans will clash with NATO on the territory of Turkey, which will disappear from the map. Cyprus will receive a temporary rapture from the Turks, however, through the general reconciliation, Byzantium will be reborn. We bear in mind that on December 17, 2023, we have presidential and municipal elections in Serbia. The presidential election in Russia will be held March 2024. And this I've translated from a Greek article full of prophecies, and we see things happening, the events happening now geopolitically. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.